So now we're going to talk with Amber Beck from Central Nebraska Joint Housing Authority about her experience with neighborly software. Hey, Amber, how are you?
I'm very good. Thank you for having me.
Okay, no, thank you for being with us. We really appreciate it. So, the first question I'm going to ask you is, as a small housing authority, when you came to Neighborly, what were the biggest pain points that you had in finding the software?
So I would say probably one of the biggest pain points would be, as a small housing authority, the admin funding that's available. There's just not enough funding there to be able to shop for a large software program. And so for about 5 years, I was very diligent about searching for a program that could meet the needs of the Housing Choice Voucher Program. I'm sure a lot of people have done research and have found that it hyper focuses mostly on public housing authority, which is,
Yes.
very, very hard because I don't emphasize on public housing. It's just housing choice voucher. And one day I had an invitation to fill out a form to visit about neighborly software. And usually I just delete those emails and decided to fill it out. And Miss Leah called, and she set up a calendar invite to discuss it. And it wasn't a scam. She actually called me. She visited with me. I set up a call with her and you, and I just remember thinking, oh my gosh, after 5 years, is this seriously happening? So all the pain points, just discussing, with the family reporting software that comes directly from HUD that's free. Oh, it is just awful and unfriendly to use. They were very familiar with that program. All the pain points of the PIC submissions, they knew. With their years of experience, it felt like they were speaking my language. And I just knew ending that call. They set up another meeting with me. I was super excited to move forward and knew I had made the right choice.
Okay, awesome. I appreciate that. So specifically, I know you talked about the family reporting software, but when you were looking for technology in this time period, like what exact challenges were you looking to stop when you were looking for a technology platform?
So right now, with my program and the Housing Choice Voucher Program, there is a lot of paperwork. It pains me just to do a new intake that the amount of paperwork that has to be completed is about an inch thick. And so to be able to eliminate that process and make it a little bit more digital friendly was something that I was looking for, not only to save time for my clients and make it more efficient, but to also save time for myself. Because sometimes, even being, in my jurisdiction, I have 21 counties. So sometimes that's a ton
Hmm.
of travel to go out there and meet with those clients and walk them through that paperwork. And so I was very excited that they were going to be able to work with me and build my software to meet my needs.
Awesome, awesome. I appreciate that feedback. So let me ask you, so we've been in implementation now. What do you feel like you've achieved so far going to the neighborly system for your HCD program?
Honestly, I was, working personally with David, I was so excited that, when we were going through the building process, I really thought that I was going to have to adapt to potentially whatever software they had available for me. And so I was prepared to go to my board and be like, hey, listen, I'm going to have to rewrite all these policies. And it wasn't like that at all. I mean, they literally sucked up all my data into my program. And when we went live the first time, I couldn't even believe it. I was just like, oh my gosh, all of my stuff is literally copied and pasted in there. Like, I was so stoked. I mean, we're talking about stuff from, you know, the late 80s, early 90s, and I was looking at it. And so nothing in my policies had to change, which was very exciting. He was even able to, kind of update my format and make it look new age, but nothing had to change.
Okay.
And so I was very excited to see that in my program.
Awesome. So you're saying from an implementation perspective, because Amber, I'll tell you, I've had a couple of implementations I've done in the housing authority world, and they've been really long, not not friendly processes. How would you say your process was in going from implementing it to our system?
Well, at first I thought, we're going to whoop this out like pretty quickly. And the first introduction with David and I, he really just kind of explained, like, listen, this is going to be a process and we're going to work through this together. And you are going to help me build this program specific to your needs. And I was like,
Okay.
oh, you're just not going to do it? And he's like, oh, no, this is your baby. And so we did. We built this entire platform to meet my needs to exactly the way I want to design it. And if I wanted to remove something, take it off. If I wanted to tweak it, he had it done by the next day, and it looked exactly the way I wanted it. And so I've just been so tickled with the layout and the way that they've designed it. It is just, I couldn't imagine any other program being able to meet my needs the way I want it.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, that custom functionality definitely is a game changer because I've worked with other softwares, and yeah, those pain points of changing your processes to work with a software, that definitely could become a full-time job within itself. So I'm glad you had that experience. So last question I had for you are, you talked about the search process for 5 years. Amber, what recommendations would you give your peers today in this webinar about how they're searching to improve how they do their day-to-day management of their HCB program?
I would tell them just to stop searching. Like, you're home. Like, just stop searching. I was so tired, and I would go to my board members and let them know, because they would want an update. And so I would set back a certain amount of funding, every year, with the hopes that I would find something. And when I had my board meeting for them to approve it, and it was at the top of my agenda, it was number one. I was so stoked to let them know that I need their approval, and they didn't hesitate. They were like, oh my goodness, finally. And so I'm confident that y'all can stop searching, and that this team right here, they have been phenomenal. So I definitely encourage everybody to, especially with the Housing Choice Voucher Program, get rid of FRS. This is all.
We're going to put that as our tagline, get rid of FRS. Yeah. Well, Amber, I appreciate all of your responses, you telling us about your experience today. Have a great day.
Thank you so much. You too. I appreciate y'all.